Hey guys, I've been traveling around Australia in my Patrol 4x4 and caravan, and every sort of 10,000 kilometers or 6 months I pull over and do a service. So this is how to do a 30-minute minor car service on the road. Have a look at this. Righto, welcome to my engine service on my lap around Australia. I'm parked up in Fairview in Queensland. Beautiful ocean view, yeah, beautiful little village. But it's time for an engine service, and I could probably do it anywhere, but the roadside stops are pretty good for that. So what I've got here is today I'm going to be doing the oil change for the engine. Make sure you get the right spec oil for your engine with the diesel engine and the performance of the engine. Then you've got to make sure the specs meet up. There's a bunch of ISO and EN specifications, so you can search that up. I have a fuel filter here as well. I've just replaced my fuel filter about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I won't be putting a new fuel filter in, and I will change the air filter. And this is the oil filter that goes with the oil. So it does require removing of a cassette and placing the oil filter in that cassette. Anyway, so yeah, bear with me while I prepare my oil and air filter change. Right now, I'm just gonna add some engine flush, oil flush into the oil, and this is engine flush for diesel engines. What it does, it's a bit of sort of kerosene, and it thins out the oil, especially if you have some sludge and stuff building up in the engine compartment. It's good to add a bit of engine flush just to thin out all the oil, get all the sludge out, and then when you drop the oil, you can get most of the shit out of the engine. So this requires you to drop this in the oil, and then you run the engine for about 7 minutes or so. My engine's already been running. I'm doing a roadside engine service, and so the engine's quite hot and the oil's hot, so this should go pretty quickly. All right, hang in there for us. Right, let's get in under the car and drop this oil. Hopefully I've got the right socket here. I think it's 21. Let's see. And I was wrong. Is it a 22? Yep. It's a 22. 22. Right, let's drop the sump. Unbolt this. Yep. It was nice and tight from the last time I put it on. The engine oil might be a bit warm, so let's try and drop it here without burning myself too much. Right, so I missed a bit of oil. That should do it. This is sort of what you don't want to do, is mess. Get your hands all full of oil. Right. So I've dropped the oil out the sump, and this is the sump plug. It has a copper washer. I just put a new one in on the previous service, and it's got a magnet at the bottom if you didn't know. So if you find metal filings and a build-up on the magnet, then it could be a cause for concern. Mine was pretty clean, just wiped it dry of the oil. There was no metal filings or anything, so far that looks good. So the next step is the plug in, the oil cassette in, and the oil in, and then we're pretty much done. Right, the next part is removing the oil filter housing. It's on a 1/2 inch socket mounting, so it's a case of unscrewing it from here. It's a bit tight, a little bit difficult getting it out, as in once it's screwed out, getting it out of the small space I've got here. But anyway, hang in there and I'll show you what's up. Right, I've unscrewed that and I managed to get it out, and that's where the filter is. Yeah, there's a lot of crud there, and yeah, we'll put a new cassette in and we put it back in and almost be ready to go. Right, this is the Nissan Patrol 3 litre ZD30, so common rail 3 litre diesel turbo engine. This is the oil filter assembly. Got the new one. The previous one was pretty well used, and it's as simple as putting the filter in and screwing this back into the assembly. So let me get that done. It's another fiddle to get it in. Yeah, after doing this I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, you get used to getting in and out of here. Difficult part is when the turbo is very hot after running the engine. But we got the cassette back in, and we'll give it a quick tighten. Once the cassette's in, I'll put the sump plug in and drop the oil in. We should be ready to go. Alright, bear with me. Right, I've got the 1/2 inch socket in, and it's not the socket, but it's the sort of little bracket on the wrench. So just get that tight. Yep, that should be good. Alright, let's get going. Okay, while I've got the oil draining out the sump, I will change the air filter here. The air filter requires a bit of a removal of the air intake pipe here, so I'll just loosen that up. There's a couple of clips here. One of the clips broke, so actually 2 clips broke, so I've got to put a bit of cable tie on the box to keep the lid down, and that's all good. And we've got to remove the mass airflow sensor. Plug. It's not coming out now. Why not? I've got this glove on. I put the glove on because you should have it on working with the oil to stop yourself burning. There we go, we've got the mass airflow sensor plug off, and now I can maneuver the pipes around and open up the airbox. Okay, with the airbox open, I can inspect and see how dirty it's got down here, and let's see what's going on here. How bad is the air filter? So there's a bit of crud in there, some insects, a bit of sand, but I had a foam filter over my intake, the snorkel, so that stopped most of the real bad fine dust going in to the filter, so it did help to some extent. And yeah, just give the airbox a bit of a wipe. It's looking pretty good actually. There's not much dust and sand in there. A couple of small little insects from the road. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, hang in there. Let's get the new filter. Right, brand new filter, and that looks pretty sweet. And there is orientation, so this bottom seal goes on the bottom, and that's in nice and secure. There is a bit of oil coming out of the intake, which means I probably need to drop my catch can oil, which is over here. This one, I'll have to drop the oil out of there. So it's doing its job, but there shouldn't be oil in the intake like that. But it's just oil vapor coming out the breather from the tappet cover, so not too bad. All right, let's get the airbox back in. Requires a little bit of shifty maneuvering here. And I do need to put I'm using a cable tie to secure the airbox, so just give me a second. Right, on cable ties, wonderful. That means you can fix things as you need it. I've got to get the sort of brackets fixed, but I'll sort that out from a wrecker, I guess. Need to get a spare set of springs. Mounting mechanism's not that great. Alright, that should do it. And if I clamp this down here, it should be good to go. Alright, I think that's pretty much the airbox on. Wait for the next step. Okay, part of any good oil change is a good oil funnel. Without a funnel, you end up messing everywhere. So here's my funnel, reusable water bottle, and it fits in there just perfectly. If the pipe wasn't in the way, but that should do. And then just to drop the oil in. So this Comarail diesel engine takes 8.2 litres of fresh oil if you've changed the oil filter. So that's what we are doing today. We're changing the oil filter and dropped all the oil, so it should take an entire 8.2 litres. So once this is 5 litres in this container, so I'll drop all this oil in. Once this is in, I'll try and measure out another 3.2 litres out the second container I have. So once all the oil's in, oh, it's so beautiful and clean, dirt free. So once that's all in and we've measured it, we'll do a measure on the dipstick, start up the engine just to get all the new fresh oil circulating, do another dipstick check, and then we should be ready to go. So how to do an engine minor service on the road in 30 minutes. Right, that's 5 litres. Let's get the second 5 litres. On this container, this 5 litres, I have used a bit of the oil to top up before I've done the change now, so it doesn't have a full 5 litres in, but we'll be able to measure out 2.5 litres here. Right, I'm trying to get oil in without messing. That gurgle's not great, difficult to maintain getting the oil in, but once it goes down a bit, it's easier to pour. If you look carefully, you can see a laminar flow out the oil. Google laminar flow. So that should be roughly 3 litres. Since I have used almost a litre out of it, that should be it. Let's cover up, put its top on, the oil cap, measure it out, start her up, and measure again. Right, give us a second. Let's get this done. Okay, so I didn't do exactly what I said I was going to do, and that is measure the oil before I started the engine, because I was fairly comfortable. There was quite a lot of oil in anyway, but do measure it first and then start her up, because once you start her up, the oil runs through the engine and it's the oil level will drop. So good practice. Okay, we're about halfway. I can probably put another half a litre in, which I will do, and then we're topped up. Right, stand by. Half a litre, here we go. Alright, that should do us. That should do us. Fantastic. Amazing. Incredible. 30 minutes. Engine service done. Alright, that concludes the 30-minute on the road engine service, just oil and air filter. So she's good to go. Let me just pack up and we'll be on the road.